When people move to Salem, Oregon, they spend months researching home prices, neighborhoods, schools, cost of living, all things that are important, everything that I did before moving to Salem, Oregon. But after moving here, through my personal experience and helping many people relocate to Salem, I noticed something interesting. The biggest adjustment isn't the house, it's not the city itself, and no, it's not even the weather. It's actually the way your daily life starts to feel, your daily routines. And some people absolutely love the change, while others really struggle more than they expected. So today I want to walk you through the biggest adjustments people experience after moving to Salem, Oregon. And by the end of the video, you're going to have a much better idea whether those changes would feel refreshing or frustrating to you. And the adjustment that I hear most often isn't what you would expect, and it certainly was not what I expected when I made the move here. The first adjustment that people feel here is that life slows down more than people expect, and this really affects all aspects of your life and your daily living. Now, of course, this is really dependent on where you're moving from, but when I came from a large city, I noticed right away that there's less people, which means less congestion, less people on the roads, less traffic. Now, on paper, Salem looks like a mid-sized city, but the way it acts and feels is more like a small city, and that was one of the appeals for my family and I, for a lot of people moving to Salem. They didn't want something too small, but they did want to slow down their pace of life if they're coming from a large city, or if they're coming from something similar size, they wanted a city that was going to still feel smaller than what they were coming from. There is just less overall stress here. There are fewer people rushing everywhere. There's less of a sense of urgency when you're living in Salem. And I really notice it with my daily routines. Just even driving around the city. People drive slower here. People are more friendly, letting you in. No one's honking your horn to hurry up. Things just move slower. And I think a lot of it has to do with the energy of the city. We're not trying to keep up with everyone else. We're not trying to compete with everyone else. It just seems like everyone's moving with the flow, doing their own thing, and it really tends to slow people down. It also has a lot to do with where we are physically or geographically on a map here. I mean, we are surrounded by farmland and countryside tends to lend to that slower pace of life, and that really kind of blends into the city of Salem itself. Even though that we're the capital of Oregon, you don't really feel that energy or buzz of being a capital city, which is something that I really truly appreciate. I wanted to move to Salem because I wanted that slower pace of life. But here's the weird thing in the adjustment. I really didn't realize how much stress I was actually carrying before I made the move to Salem, Oregon. Being from a big city in Los Angeles, I was used to the buzz, the high energy, the go, go, go atmosphere, but it was just normal for me. I didn't really know any better. I wanted something different, but I didn't really know any better. The weird adjustment, though, was that when I got here, I was a bit uncomfortable with the slower pace and the slower routine. I really didn't know how to react and live this way. When I first moved to Salem, I was driving faster than the locals here. I was moving faster in general. I still had that go-go energy and that vibration in me that I didn't feel quite right. I felt really awkward when I first moved to Salem. And again, even though I wanted to slow things down, my body and my mindset were not used to that. And it took some adjustment period. But once I adjusted and realized, wait a minute, I moved here for a reason. It's exactly what I wanted, slower pace. Then I finally adjusted, and I cannot tell you how much more stress-free my life feels just by living here. Forget everything else, but just by making that move and the way the city functions and the way the energy here in Salem, my stress levels have gone down so much more, which makes me a happier person, my family life a happier energy, and just everything I do on a daily routine, I'm just in a better place for it. However, the slower pace does affect more than just your commute and your daily routines. And that leads us to the next topic, and that is your evenings are going to look different after you move to Salem, Oregon, and that's where that second adjustment comes into effect here. Your evenings are less centered around going out and more centered around your home lifestyle. And the reason for that is a lot of things close early in Salem, Oregon, even in the downtown area. Things close around 7, 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock's pushing it. There's a few places that'll stay open past that time, but it's rare. And there's even restaurants and storefronts that don't even open up on certain days. And as far as large entertainment venues or large scale entertainment spots. We just don't have that here in Salem. Then that's where the adjustment comes from. Now, again, I came from LA, which had everything and anything you wanted that was open to the wee hours till 2 a.m., even beyond. And there was a time and place for that in my life that I truly took advantage of that and enjoyed it. But again, I wanted something different. So when I moved to Salem, that adjustment wasn't nearly as challenging for me as it is for some people. But just know when you move to Salem, Oregon, your evenings and nightlife is not going to be out and about to the wee hours or late night. It's going to be more focused on centered at home, because the reality is things just close early. But the cool thing that I noticed is that I got to get to know my neighbors more. We have more neighborhood gatherings, neighborhood parties, backyard barbecues, backyard get-togethers. It also helped me focus a little bit more inward on my own hobbies, and that was something that I was definitely missing, because I was so used to the outside world, the city entertaining me, that I wasn't really focused on what I really wanted and what I wanted to do. And so I was able to really discover more about myself. I actually spend a lot more time with my family focused. I'm not going out again trying to seek out that entertainment, creating it myself and creating it with my community, my neighborhood that I live in. And again, that is something I knew I wanted, and I'm glad I got it when I moved to Salem, Oregon. Now, I will say that Salem, Oregon is growing. There's a lot more people moving here, kind of fleeing that large city. And with that, people are coming in with some new and creative ideas of bringing more nightlife to the city of Salem. We are getting more businesses coming to the downtown and surrounding areas that are willing to stay open a little bit longer, because there is a slow but growing demand for that. We also have a mall in the downtown area that's kind of a bit defunct and older, but there's a big, strong push to make this a massive community space with lots of different types of events during the days, weekends, and yes, even the evenings. So things are changing a little bit. They will never be like a Portland, a Seattle, a Los Angeles, a San Francisco, or any other big city that you can think of. However, the energy is changing a little bit, but not too much. And I think Salem would resist too much of a big shift in that energy and that nightlife. So it's going to be more of a balanced life. And that's actually a big key to living in Salem. Your life becomes more balanced. And that's why a lot of people choose Salem in general. But I just wanted to let you know that there is a little bit of a shift, so that could change in the next handful of years. But as of now and the foreseeable future, the lifestyle does naturally shift toward a home and neighborhood life. And that's where some people really thrive, or others start missing something. Now, I'm not a local by any means. My family and I relocated to Salem, Oregon, just like you're thinking about doing, and I went through a lot of these adjustments that I'm talking about here in this video. And that's why I'm doing this video. I'm also a local real estate agent that helps people relocate to Salem, Oregon, especially if you are purchasing a home. So if you're thinking about doing that, hit me up at the contact information popping up or in the description below. Now, this next adjustment is something that I can personally relate to, and that is missing the big city energy. Now, as I mentioned, I didn't want it anymore, but it is something that I did miss when I first got to Salem, Oregon. It really was kind of in my face on how much less we have here in Salem compared to where I came from in Los Angeles. And it just wasn't focused on the entertainment, which I had already spoken about. We don't have the options, and we don't have the constant entertainment here in Salem. We don't have events every night. We don't have a massive club and bar scene here. We don't have that big urban energy that someone would be used to in a large city. But it's really more than that. It's some of the things that affect you more on the daily. You just don't have a lot of restaurant options. Now, we cook a lot at home, but we do like to go out and explore and have fun at restaurants. Now, that's not to say that we don't have a lot of different types of cuisines here and food here in Salem. We do, and more is coming in as more people, chefs and restaurateurs are coming into Salem. But in large cities, it feels like you have endless options. In Salem, you don't. You have a handful that you're going to choose from. Some are good, some are not so good. But just know that your options are going to be a lot more limited. And when it comes to your shopping experience, again, a lot less here in Salem. We have a couple of outdoor shopping centers. One is in Salem in the Willamette Town Center. The other is in Kaiser, which is our sister city to the north. It's Kaiser Station, but outside of that, that's kind of what your shopping experience is going to be limited to. The downtown area would be the third option for shopping and restaurants and some entertainment. And again, that is growing and getting better, even better since I've moved here. but you're not going to have the same experience that you're going to have in a Portland, a Los Angeles, a Seattle, or other big cities. But overall, it's really the feeling and the energy and the vibe that's really going to shift and cause for an adjustment when you move to Salem. As I mentioned before, when you are in those large cities, you are go, go, go. It has a vibrant buzz to it. People are moving quickly. People are moving with purpose. People are moving with high intensity, higher energy. And again, you may be moving to Salem to escape that, which that's exactly what I did. But when you're used to it and you're used to living in it, and then you come to a city that's a lot more slower and pretty much the opposite of that, it takes quite a bit of an adjustment period to get used to it, fully immerse yourself in it. And this is where I'll throw in even sporting events. Now, we're a huge sports family. We don't have any professional teams here in Salem. You've got to go up into Portland for all of that. Now, we do have some leagues that do play here in Salem. We've got baseball leagues here. We've got some basketball leagues here, even some soccer leagues here, but it's all on the minor or independent league system. You got to go to Portland for any of your big craze sports fixes. We have university and college sports here, but again, we don't have University of Oregon or Oregon State, which are your two biggest sports colleges here in Oregon. Now, the good thing is when you live in Salem, you are only about an hour away from Portland. So if you want the taste of the high energy and that big city life, it's just an hour drive north along Interstate 5 freeway, and you are right there. And that was honestly one of the appeals to being in Salem. We still were close enough to go into Portland and get the cultural experiences. Oh, that's something I didn't actually touch on yet. We have a few museums here. We have art festivals here. We have a lot of community events. I want to put that out there because that is something that was an awesome surprise for my family and I. We absolutely love how many community events here happen throughout the year. But we are lacking some cultural experiences that we need to go into Portland for. We've several museums in Portland, art museums, science museums. They got the Japanese gardens. They've got a really big zoo there and so much more to offer in Portland. But again, we don't want to live in that energy. We don't want to live in that what I call a mess. I'm done with big city life and I don't want it anymore. But I don't mind visiting it here and there when I want to on my time, when I decide I want to be around it. And I can just retreat back into Salem, slow it down for my daily life, and just go to Portland anytime I want. So you're not completely isolated from the energy that you would have in a big city because you are so close to it. Now, whether Salem feels peaceful or boring often comes down to your own personality and what your needs are. But surprisingly, that's not the adjustment people talk about most. The adjustment that nobody really expects is that your priorities change when you move to Salem, Oregon. And I know it did for me personally and for a lot of the clients that I've helped relocate here. People start valuing their shorter commutes, more free time, outdoor access, family time, and the less stress that they have here in Salem. Now, before moving to Salem, there's a lot of people that are prioritizing the proximity to nightlife, the constant entertainment, that hustle culture. And these value adjustments don't really take full effect until you actually move here. Now, of course, you may be aligning yourself with some of the values that we have here in Salem, and that's what's causing you to search to possibly move to Salem, Oregon. So you're kind of on that road. But actually, from my personal experience and from a lot of people that I've helped relocate here, they don't really feel that full effect until they've moved here and settled down. And the good thing is those values that I was seeking were fulfilled when I moved to Salem. Now, as we go through life, our values change, they shift and they adjust, and we're all at different points of our lifestyle and we want different things depending where we are in life. And I was shifting towards the values that Salem offers. And the great thing is that Salem fulfilled its promise and it lives up to the same values that I was seeking. And that's what I want to share with you in this section is that if you are seeking those new priorities, Salem will have you covered. Many people just don't move to Salem. The things they care about start changing too. And that's especially true for one group moving here right now. Families feel the adjustment in Salem fast. Now, this is something that I can personally relate to. One of the big reasons we decided to uproot, get out of that big city and move to Salem, because my wife and I have 2 young kids and we knew we wanted something different. We did not want to raise our kids in that high, intense energy that a large city offers. Now, when I was growing up in that environment, It was a large city, but it felt different. Things change everywhere, but especially they changed in Los Angeles for us. And we just didn't feel comfortable raising our kids there anymore. We didn't feel safe letting them roam around the neighborhood, even though we lived in a nice neighborhood. We just didn't feel comfortable letting them do that. We were a very active family. We got lots of extracurricular activities. We like to explore, go on adventures in nature. And we also didn't want to be stuck in traffic, taking forever to get to these destinations because that leads to a higher level of stress. We wanted to simplify things. My wife and I wanted to simplify our life. We wanted a less stressful environment. We didn't want to come home from work after being in traffic for an hour because that just really weighs on your energy level for our kids. We wanted to be the best we could be when raising our family. And that's exactly what we got here in Salem. We got a great neighborhood where we let our kids roam around, run around free on their scooters and bikes. They've got plenty of friends that they hang out with. We see kids in neighborhoods that they're all out and about having fun. It feels the way it used to be when I grew up as a kid. You let the kids roam around, they come home when it gets dark, and Salem provides that for us, at least in the neighborhoods that we're in, and a lot of my clients are moving in. And I can certainly say that, and the environment has an effect on how you feel. Now, I am a big believer if you create your own energy, you create who you are. But I'm not going to deny that the environment that you are around certainly shapes that. And Salem gave us a life that we're just less stressed, and that's having a positive effect not just on ourselves as parents, but also on our kids. We're not spending hours on the freeway or just getting through the city to get home for our kids. We're not spending hours just taking our kids to different activities. Everything we do within the city of Salem is within 20 to 30 minutes away, so it makes our daily routine so much easier, a lot more predictable. We're not wasting energy on trying to find the quickest path from point A to point B, or trying to cut through a bunch of neighborhoods, or decide not to go somewhere completely because it's just going to take too long to get there. And so this move to Salem had a great positive effect on our family personally, and for a lot of the people that I've helped relocate and purchase a home here, they say the same thing, and it's really nice to hear because that just means that Salem was the right move for us. Salem was the right move for them. Now, the next adjustment was a pleasant surprise, and that is Salem feels smaller than you would expect. When you look at a map that's popping up right now, you look at Salem and it looks pretty sprawled out. But really, the reality is it only takes about 30 minutes to cross the entire city, whether you're going from the southern portion to the northern portion or from all the way west to the eastern portion of Salem and anywhere in between. And that makes daily life a lot easier. And also what comes with that is that you start seeing familiar faces wherever you go. And that's something that I thought was really cool. I wasn't really expecting that. But when I go to my favorite coffee places or restaurants, or I'm hanging out downtown, or one of the really cool parks, whether it's Riverfront Park, Mento Brown, Bush's Pasture Park, and other places, I'm running into friends, I'm running into neighbors. And so it really has that small hometown feel that wasn't necessarily something that I was expecting, but certainly something that I welcomed. It's also nice that Salem is small enough to where when I go into my favorite spots, that the people working there or the owners of those establishments, they start recognizing my face and who I am, and you're having these nice conversations. It's not so busy and so packed that you're just an anonymous person. You're just a number. You kind of feel like you're part of their family, just welcomed here. That's something that I've personally experienced, and a lot of people that have moved here has also shared similar experiences. And even some of the larger events that we have here, whether it's the Arts Festival, the State Fair, Iron Man, Forest Fest, Ag Fest, so much more, movies and concerts in the park. Again, you run into familiar faces, which is really cool. It's something that I never experienced in the big city, even though that maybe we were there, my friends and family or friends and neighbors were at these large events in Los Angeles at the same time. There's no way we would cross paths and come close to each other just because of the sheer size and how many people were there. And so that's a very nice surprise. Even when I go to these bigger community events in Salem, I'm still running into familiar faces, which always enhances the experience at the events. And for many people moving here, and a lot of buyers have bought homes here, they're really grateful for that experience. They really feel that local connection, that sense of community. And that was something that I really wanted in a new city when I was going to move my family. I wanted to feel a part of something. And I absolutely feel like I'm a part of the city of Salem. It's a certain identity that I didn't really necessarily feel in Los Angeles just because it was so big. And I hear this a lot from people moving from big cities. Sure, there's an identity to those cities. There's no doubt. There's a lot of pride with people living in those cities. However, it's so big that people just don't feel connected. They start saying, well, I'm from a certain region of a city or a certain specific neighborhood. I feel like in Salem, everyone's just together. Yes, there's different pockets, there's different regions, there's different neighborhoods. But in general, the community really does come together. But there is certainly an adjustment. When you come from a bigger city into Salem, you were probably used to being anonymous, not being recognized, not being seen. And that could get a little overwhelming when you're running into neighbors and friends constantly at the market, at the restaurant, at your favorite coffee place, at an event. You're seeing the same people over and over again. That can feel a little awkward and a little odd for people that aren't used to that. Especially if you're someone that doesn't necessarily want to be seen, or you just like your privacy, maybe don't want to be bothered as much. That's an adjustment. Now, we're not like a small town where you feel like everyone's business is your business and every neighbor's being nosy. It's not like that at all. But certainly there's more familiarity and running into people here in Salem than you would experience. You're more of an anonymous life that you would have in a large city. And that's where we're going to bring us to the people that struggle the most with the adjustments they need to make when moving to Salem, Oregon. Let's face it, there's a lot of adjustments that you need to make anytime you move from one place to another. Of course, the obvious is your house, your neighborhood. I mean, those are the biggest adjustments that are felt immediately. But the overall adjustment that people need to make when moving to Salem may not be for everybody. And if you're someone looking and still wanting that larger scale city, the rush, the urban buzz, a big nightlife, those adjustments may never be made because you're just not going to get that here in Salem. And that's a tough reality that a lot of people will face. And you certainly don't want to face that reality only after you move here. And again, that's why I'm doing these videos, to help you figure out whether Salem is going to be the right place, the right fit for you and where you are in your life right now. And the reality is everyone struggles a little bit with the adjustments that you have to make when moving to Salem, Oregon. My family and I went through it. The difference is when we got through it, we realized that we made the right move. We liked the adjustments that we made and everything made sense to us. But there are certainly people that have moved here, lived here for about a year or two and say, you know what? Salem's just not for me. It's too slow. The pace of life isn't for me. I want more. I want more entertainment. I want more options. I want the vibe and the energy that a big city has to offer, and just not getting it in Salem. And so they end up moving. And so again, you want to make sure you do your due diligence, doing your research, watch these videos, watch more videos on my channel to see if Salem is a good fit for you. Make sure you do reach out to me if you're thinking about moving to Salem, Oregon and buying a house. I'd absolutely love to hear from you. We'll have that great conversation because I know exactly what you are going through. I did the move myself. As I said, I'm not a local, so I get what you're going through, some of the questions and the concerns that you may have. I've helped many people relocate, and I'd love to help you as well. Again, watch more videos on my channel to get a better sense of what Salem life is like.